back, everybody.
Welcome back.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
And we are two average guys coming at you to talk about week 9? Yeah, week 9 in college football.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Huskers played Bethune-Cookman yesterday.
Which, before the season, if you asked most Husker fans if they knew who Bethune-Cookman was, they probably would say no.
Where are they from?
Daytona, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Which is how there was a connection with some of the coaching staff
Yeah.
in Nebraska with Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, so I think we're not gonna spend a ton of time, to be honest, on the Husker game yesterday. I mean, it's one of those things where offensively we did what we had to do in that first half to win the game.
Right.
It's not something that should have been really a surprise to anybody that we scored 38 in the first half. Really, it was one of those things
Unless
where
we thought we should have scored more than that.
Well, you know, if you watched Cornhusker Nation yesterday, anybody following the comments when I was posting scores, there was a couple of people that thought that we still looked crappy and that we need to do better and we're still making mistakes. And, you know, one thing I got to say about that is, you know, that's the kind of fan that the Huskers don't want. Because if you expect perfection every single game, for one, we haven't been perfect yet.
Right.
We have yet to have a perfect game. 2, even the other teams that play FCS teams, they're still giving up 23 points. I mean, it happens every year.
Ole Miss almost struggled with somebody earlier this year.
Bama, I mean,
Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Alabama, they usually give up 20 points to the Citadel. So, I mean, yeah, they may score 63-70, but guess what? They're playing their starters the entire game. I mean, they play them at least through the third quarter, and we didn't. And I think that was a smart thing to do. At first, I really wanted to put up 60-plus points.
So did I.
Because we could have. I mean, there's no doubt we definitely could have. But, I mean, let's get some guys some chances to play that haven't. And I thought that was a smart thing to do. I think we did the right thing by pulling all of our starters. We don't want them to get hurt before going to Ohio State next week.
Right, and here's the thing. I was getting a little frustrated because it was. I mean, we should have scored right at the end of the first half. It should have been 42-3, whatever. We get a field goal instead. And then they pulled the starters, and I texted you and I said, man, I don't know why we didn't just go with the second team, like quarterback and backs, receivers, keep the starting offensive line. There's a reason that these other guys aren't getting in the game when we haven't been that great on the offensive line, and they're still playing. Yeah. And then, you know, as you think about it, it's like, whether we win this game by 7 or we win by 60, it does not matter. No. So, we didn't need these guys to come
and
in.
really our offense, so we went down, and I thought our offense looked pretty good. They weren't doing anything fancy. Martinez never ran the ball.
And he definitely could have. There was at least a handful of times, like I said. But I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah.
Because then he could have gotten hurt.
Ezekiel still ran for over 100 yards, 11 carries. He averaged 10 yards a carry.
Didn't need any more than that out of him. Spielman gets a 77-yard punt return. Yeah. That took away one complete drive, which I think was good.
Yeah, Mo Washington did well. Or not Mo, Spielman. Washington did too. Spielman did good.
Morgan had 2 touchdowns.
Morgan had a couple TDs, couple good passes.
The guys did. The playmakers made plays early and often. And
they didn't need to do anything fancy. I mean, like I said, I liked the first drive because what we did, which I think we should do moving forward in games, is those quick strikes left and right. I mean, we were successful, and some of those were quick slants, some of those were quick outs.
And it doesn't matter, even if they're only 5 yards, it's better than running the ball for a yard.
Yeah, and so I want to see that moving forward in these other games that we played at the end of the season because I do think those are successful. A lot of teams do it and succeed. So I hope those types of plays we see more of. I know it was nothing fancy. It wasn't anything we needed to come out and show a lot to really beef our score up or beef our team up. It was something where we needed to just come out, we needed to win the game, win easy, and then call it a day. And we did. 38-3 after the first half.
I mean, that was really.
They
scored a touchdown on the last play of the game.
Yeah,
it's kind of bummed. I was hoping we wouldn't give up a touchdown, but
once again, it doesn't hurt us.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, and it just didn't matter. So
once again,
we're 2-6.
Right. Well, and back to what I had said before when I was getting kind of frustrated. Then I kind of took a step back and this is supposed to be the bye week. They're supposed to be off. Yeah. They're supposed to be recovering, resting. You know what I mean? Frost gave them Monday off last week, which they don't normally do, which I thought was a good idea.
Yeah,
they didn't have a crazy week of practice, I don't think, which is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be our bye week. You're asking them to play 12 weeks in a row, practice 13 weeks in a row, without a break.
Yeah. So Zom, you mentioned it's one thing that we have a big drop off between first and second string.
Huge drop.
To me, I think that's why we haven't seen a lot of these second string guys come in when our first string is struggling.
Exactly.
Especially on our offensive line, because you did see a big difference in the speed, the strength, and talent.
I don't know that Noah Vedral is exactly where we would want him to be, but
I think he was super nervous too.
I'm sure he was. He's got a lot of family friends. Playing in Memorial Stadium for the first time. He did get a touchdown, which was good to see, but he wasn't very good. But he didn't have much time.
Yeah.
Those offensive linemen that he had in front of him were not great, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
there is a big drop off though, Zom. I agree.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people expected that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people really thought that it was going to be anything different.
When they're playing 84 snaps a game, the same 5 guys.
Yeah. But I will say, some things that I did see that we haven't seen yet this year, some of the guys that came in, Missouri, he ran great.
He played good when he came in against Michigan.
Yeah, 11 yards a carry, so I'm excited to see what he has to bring coming forward. We also had guys that haven't caught passes all year that got into the game for the first time. Miles Jones, Austin Allen, Katarian Legrone also had a catch. Brandon Reimers had a couple nice catches. And Jack Stoll got in a couple catches as well. On defense, we did see a few takeaways. I don't care who you're playing. You want to get takeaways no matter what. We had the interception by Peyton Newell. I believe he's a sophomore.
That was... is he a sophomore?
I believe a sophomore or junior. I don't think he's a senior. But either way, we got the INT for him. Deontay Williams had a really nice interception in the end zone.
And both those were in the red zone.
That one was in the end zone.
That one was in the end zone. So.
And then JoJo Doman, I was impressed with him. A lot of people are really excited about him to play.
I think he's played a little bit, hasn't he?
No, I think it's his first time playing. If he's played, he's
I
played a couple snaps.
I just hear his name a lot.
But that strip that he had, that's the kind of stuff we want from our defense. Our guys going in and punching out the football. And he did a perfect job.
Well,
it was awesome.
It was funny, too, because the terrible announcers they had on Big Ten.
Oh, my
God. They're kind of saying, this backup quarterback, he can't throw and all this. He was throwing some pretty decent balls on those screens. He was zipping them in there.
Yeah.
And on that one, he zipped one in there. And I was like, man, that was they're going to get another 10 yards. Doman came in and stripped it.
Yeah, those guys are, the guys announcing the game, or the guy and the gal announcing the game, they were probably 2 of the worst Big Ten. It might have been their first game announcing because it was bad.
Well,
they didn't know any of the guys' names. They didn't know how to pronounce the names. You got to get yourself familiar. If you're going to be on live TV, you better know a little bit.
They should have thrown us on it.
Yeah, we could have done a great job. But, like I said, it's a Nebraska win. We expected the win. We expected scoring out of our offense, and we expected our defense to do what they did. And I think that's something to be happy about because we didn't want a close game. We didn't want our defense to struggle. Yeah. We wanted to come out and play the game like we would against anybody else.
Well, and Miles Jones, he had a rush and a reception. Looked really fast.
Yeah.
And I know that's what they've said. On his first rushing attempt, it was like an end around. Didn't think he looked that fast.
Yep.
As fast as I've been hearing. But then he caught a screen and ran up the sideline. He looked real quick.
Very true.
And then he's going to redshirt because he's not going to play 4 games. So that's a good thing. We'll have him for years to come. Hopefully he can get a little bit more developed, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Glenn said Nebraska was not good on third down today. I wasn't concerned about that at all. It really wasn't. We didn't have a ton of punts. He had a 73-yard punt. I wasn't concerned about any of that, and our coaches weren't either. We weren't trying to go the extra mile. But yes, we haven't been bad on third down all year.
One thing that's a little concerning was we pull the first team offense and put in the second team. A lot of the guys on first team defense, at least, came out to start the second half.
They stayed in for like three snaps or a couple possessions. It wasn't a ton.
The thing about it is they're rotating so many guys in all the time that you're seeing numbers that you normally see.
Yeah.
Even but even that first, they were able to move the ball.
Yeah.
We got fortunate that we got a few turnovers, but defense needs to get a little better.
Yeah.
We all know that.
And that's definitely going to be the weak spot moving forward. And we all, like you said, we all expected that.
Shoot, I thought that team would put up. You said 20. I thought they might put up some points.
Yeah, but I also thought we put up 63. We could have. But
we didn't.
But anyways, so I mean that's really all we're gonna cover with Nebraska. Like I said, it wasn't anything flashy that we needed to do. We did what we had to do to win the game. We looked good doing it, but against the lesser.
You guys have any questions or anything?
Yeah, shoot them our way. But let's talk about. I know I got it. I got it.
That was the first thing we were gonna talk about.
I was gonna talk about our ticket giveaway. So we'll pin this to the top of our page. But for those of you following right now, we're gonna put it on the podcast as well to remind everybody, and we'll post it up again throughout the week. But we do have a ticket giveaway for the Iowa-Nebraska game. This is at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. The day after Thanksgiving, I think it's like the 24th, is it?
Something like
25th?
that.
I think it's the 25th.
11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock game at Kinnick. So we do have a ticket giveaway. We have a couple tickets. But here's what you got to do to not only qualify, but potentially win those tickets. First thing, here's some of the rules. You have to like the page. You have to share the post. And you have to tag the person that you would want to go with. So those are the 3 rules that you have to do.
And if the person does not have a Facebook, I guess you can just put their name in.
Yeah, type their name in.
That's fine.
So, but what you have to do in order to win is you have to predict the score of the Nebraska-Ohio State game. Now, a lot of people make sure you have to pick the Huskers. We're not making you do that. If you think Ohio State's going to win, put the score you think is going to win there. And then the tiebreaker is Huskers offensive yards. How many offensive yards are the Huskers going to get against Ohio State? So right now, we'll talk a little bit about that game, but ticket giveaway, Iowa at Nebraska in Iowa City, Kinnick Stadium.
At Iowa.
I just said. I say it the other way around.
Yeah, you said.
Damn it. Nebraska at Iowa, Kinnick Stadium, day after Thanksgiving. Predict the score of the Nebraska-Ohio State game coming up. How many offensive yards are the Huskers going to get? That's your tiebreaker. And then you have to like our page, share the post, and then tag the person you would go with. So we'll remind you throughout the week. And then after the Ohio State game, we'll make sure we announce the winner. So let's talk real quick about next week coming up.
Okay.
Ohio State opened up today as a 22.5-point favorite. Which I don't know why anyone would expect anything different.
Agreed.
Here's the biggest thing that is going to make a difference in the game for Nebraska if we want to win the game. I'm not worried about offense, defense. And once again, that's our soft spot throughout the entire year. Defense has to help us win that game. We need some turnovers. We need to get some pressure on Haskins.
Yeah.
And we need to stop the run.
Which I think we can stop the run. I mean, they haven't been that good.
Yeah, but we've also struggled. We struggled with Michigan. We struggled with every team on the run game for the most part. So I say they still have J.K. Dobbins and Weber in their backfield. They can run the ball. Haskins is not a dual threat quarterback like Ohio State usually has. So he threw.
And that's what's killed us the last few years.
He threw it over 70 times against Purdue. So if they do that, holy cow! Our corners and safeties and our linebackers in coverage, they're gonna have to be stellar. But I don't see them throwing the ball that much. So our defense is gonna be the difference maker.
Okay.
Offensively, their corners are suspect. They've been beat a lot this year. And if we can run the ball successfully, Purdue put up over 300 yards rushing on the ground. If we can do that, we have guys
between Martinez and
Washington. Mo.
Yeah.
I feel confident in our offense to play well in that game because their defense, they don't have Bosa anymore this year. He was the cornerstone for that defense. Their defensive ends, their linebacker, and their linemen, probably one of the worst defenses they've had without Bosa there. So their offensive line is also not that great. So I think we have some opportunities to expose them, but we have to do a great job of watching the film and knowing where their weaknesses are. Watch that Purdue game.
Well, and they started out looking really good this year. I thought that they did.
Mm-hmm.
They go and win the TCU game, which TCU lost to Kansas yesterday. So obviously that wasn't. And then they come back and beat Penn State by a point.
Yep.
Which Penn State is a little down this year, in my opinion.
Yep.
And then they struggled with Indiana. They struggled with Minnesota. So, and then obviously they got blown out by Purdue.
Yeah.
So, if we play a sound game, keep the turnovers down.
Here's the thing.
No fumbled snaps. Can't be throwing a bunch of interceptions.
The one thing that scares me is they gotta be pissed.
And that's what I was just gonna say.
Not only are they mad,
they also had a bye week.
They had a bye week, but they also have to win this game. They have to win out.
Yeah.
They can't lose. If they want a chance at the playoff, they can't lose.
They lost by 29 points, but with 11 teams in the top 25 losing this week, it's, kind of rocked the whole And we'll see come Tuesday the first playoff rankings. Where they think Ohio State might be sitting around.
Yep.
But that's given them more of an opportunity now.
Yeah.
So
They're going to come out mad because they lost for one. They're going to come out. They want that championship. They want to at least have an opportunity.
And they know that it's as long as they take care of business, then they get to that Michigan game.
And what kept them out last year? They lost to Iowa by 31 points.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be one of those games where we have to play sound defense, which we haven't done yet. We have to do better on the defensive side. Offensive, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. Now we are going to the shoe. We have Martinez.
We don't play very well.
Yeah, and Martinez, another game on the road, tough, just like Michigan. So let's see how he does in that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're probably going to dial up a bunch of pressure against Martinez. They're going to see what watch that film of Michigan and see what Michigan did.
Yeah.
Because we were not able to.
Yeah, so after a bye week, Urban is 32-2. So yeah, exactly. That scares us because they have a lot of time to prepare, watch film on us.
Yeah, I mean,
they're gonna be
at the same time.
Their number one goal is going to be stopping our run game.
Yeah, I mean, shutting down Martinez.
Yeah, I will say I don't see a snowball coming. I think we can, John. I think we can avoid the snowball absolutely. One thing I think. It's not going to be a 56-6 game like it was Michigan. I think we keep it closer if we lose. I think we keep it closer more like the Wisconsin game rather than getting beat by 50. I don't think Ohio State's not going to blow too many teams out this year, including Nebraska. So I think we're going to prepare better. I think we have a better offensive team this year than we did the last couple times we played them.
Yeah.
We have more weapons.
I mean, last year, obviously. The year before, Tommy Armstrong went down early. And we didn't have much behind him, so
so I think
if we can start the way we have a few of these games, Purdue we scored right away, Minnesota we scored right away, obviously against Bethune-Cookman we scored right away, but if we can, we look good on those first drives.
Yep. Still, if we get that momentum early, like we just said, get that momentum early, score on our first drive. Score on the second drive. I mean, we can't get caught behind them. I think if we get behind too far, it's going to be tough to come back. We have to stay within a 10-point range to have a chance.
We might be able to score, but they're going to continue to score.
They can't.
If they get up by too much.
They have what it takes to continue to score. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Unlike most years, but and it's an 11 o'clock game. We haven't played Ohio State an 11 o'clock game ever. So
we always play them in the night games.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the game. I think we have a shot to, if not win, at least contend with them, and that hopefully will gain the respect and also
and also the confidence for a lot of these young kids going forward. And in our first year, we struggled, but we kept it close with Wisconsin. We kept it close with Ohio State.
Well, and even with the win against Bethune-Cookman, it's still, we got 2 wins in a row. We still we'll build confidence. Right. We still look good in that first half. I don't care who you're playing. Like you mentioned, Old Dominion, they had a big win this year. You just never know who's going to win, who's going to come out playing. You're still playing a college football team. They still have guys that have talent. You're not playing a talentless team that's never played a game. You're playing a college football team. These guys don't get recruited to the big schools. They probably have some good playmakers. So, you're not going to be perfect. They're going to get yards on you. And you can't expect to be flawless. And so I think it was still a confidence builder to come out, play really well in that first half for all of our starters because they're going to be in the game next week. And I think that builds confidence going to Ohio State.
Yeah, and again, like we said, they were holding the reins back on Martinez.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought he didn't have a great game necessarily, but it didn't matter. They told him, this is what we want you to do, and he did what they told him.
He was 15-22, 2 TDs and 213 yards. So
he threw an interception, but
that was a poor decision.
One quick thing, actually a couple of quick things. Dalton posted the link for the contest.
Yep, and what we'll do is we'll pin it to the top of the page, so it's the first thing that you guys see. It makes it easy. Share with your friends, your family. We'll have it out there on Twitter as well after the show's over here. We'll throw it up there for you guys. And we can get some Twitter action as well and go from there.
The one other thing I thought was funny was, a couple things. Sorry, didn't mean to bring it back to a whole bunch of different things, but the coach buying a runs on the sideline was hilarious.
Yep.
And their kicker was 5'4", 210.
That's the big boy.
But my wife was telling me there was an article that he grew up I don't know. He must have grown up in, not a very well-off family. That was the farthest that anyone in his family had ever traveled or anything. And some fans were kind of heckling him, and he just joins in.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that the atmosphere was really cool, and the fans were fun, and people were
He when he had that kick down to like the 1 yard line, him coming off the field like. He was so excited. It's 38-3, and he was.
No, it was cool.
Coach had nothing but good things to say about us.
It's cool when a lot of players like that. They probably don't. They don't get to play in a place like that.
No.
A 1-6 team that's playing an FCS team that has 88,000 people at the game.
Yeah, John will get to commits here in a second. That actually is next on our list to talk about.
Sorry,
but you're fine. So I mean, that's not the first time we've heard good things from another team, another coach talking about our fans, talking about the players, the coaches, the atmosphere, the city, the trip to Lincoln, and that's one thing we want to keep going because everyone does say Nebraska's got the nicest fans in the world,
right.
And I wouldn't disagree. People get pissed, they get upset. The good fans that are at the game that truly love the game for what it is, they're the ones that you want to be around because even if we lose, Husker fans still enjoy their time. So
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about commits. We'll come back to what else happened in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Let's talk about commits. So we know.
Did you write the commit that we had this week?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So Darian Chase, wide receiver, committed. He's out of Washington. So Darian Chase, we got him. That's a big pickup for us. Now we do have a lot of guys in the wide receiver core, but you need those guys.
Correct, but we also had Tyjon Lindsey who left the program.
Yep.
That's one receiver we're down. I can't remember his name, but there was a receiver that was in our 2018 class that did not become academically eligible. Mm-hmm. So he never even came onto campus. I don't remember his name. But
Darian Chase,
they're going, and
it's good pickup.
They're going after. They said we might need 3 or 4.
Well, we got to build depth, so at all locations, no matter what position. So we get Darian Chase. He committed this past week. What we have coming up, so Wandale Robinson, Keyshawn Johnson Jr. I don't think he's. Oh yeah, that's who it was. That's he was an academic. He was smoking too much weed in process.
That was another.
He was another guy.
I don't think he was that good, but
but Wandale Robinson, he's a running back, wide receiver. He's kind of one of those athletes, all-purpose backs out of Kentucky. He's a really good fit for the spread offense for Nebraska. Everything I'm hearing is he's a good fit for the spread offense. He has this commit coming up on Thursday, November 1st. It was either 2:30 or 6:30. I can't remember. Right now, the crystal ball prediction around him is Nebraska. It's right now they're saying Ohio State might sweep in too because Ohio State's one of the choices. But when you look at his ability to play early and often, they think Nebraska is still that crystal ball prediction for him. But they're saying Nebraska most likely, but Ohio State, depending on what happens the rest of the season, or not the rest of the season, I guess he's got less than a week to commit. So, but Ohio State could be a contender in that.
Okay.
But right now, they're still saying Nebraska's probably got the higher.
Yeah, I've heard his name. I've heard his name a lot. So.
Last I saw. Javin Wright, he's a cornerback out of Arizona. We don't get too many guys committing out of Arizona, so I think that's exciting to see a guy from Arizona looking at Nebraska. Right now, they're saying Nebraska or UCLA.
Is it JUCO or not?
No.
Okay.
No, Javin Wright's not a JUCO. His dad was a Husker though, Toby Wright.
Okay, that's good.
So he was a Husker. He makes his decision on the 31st, so on Halloween. So look out on Wednesday and Thursday. We could have a couple announcements coming up. So yeah, Toby's son. So Nebraska, UCLA. Right now, once again, the crystal ball prediction on him is Nebraska heavily. I think about 65% chance of him choosing Nebraska over UCLA. Also a good thing. I believe Washington's in the mix there with him as well. So a couple good commits potentially this week. Another guy that we have is Bryce Benhart.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle out of Minnesota. Yep. The dude's a beast. He's 6'8", 305. He's actually made 2 visits to Nebraska, one unofficial, but he's been in Nebraska twice now. He's out of Minnesota.
I heard his name a lot this week.
Right now, his choices, Nebraska or Wisconsin. But they are saying Nebraska's in the driver's seat for Bryce. They're saying, and especially he's made a couple visits, they're thinking he's in the driver's seat. They don't have a timeline on his commitment, but they do see that commitment coming fairly soon. So once again, another guy, offensive tackle, be a really good guy to have on our line. He's got speed, he's got size, he's got strength. everything I've heard about him is very good. So
we
I
need
do think
we need
Rice.
some depth at the offensive line.
Then we got Tavian Mayo. He's a cornerback out of Georgia. Once again, another place that we haven't been able to get commits from in a long time.
That we're getting into now.
And that's the thing that Frost is. A lot of people are like, where is he going to be able to commit? If he can get guys down, and we talked about it, down in Georgia, down in Bama, down in Texas, down in Arizona. So those guys that have all those year-round workouts, they get the opportunity to play a little bit more. And they just breed different down there.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Tavian Mayo, the thought on him is if Javin Wright commits to Nebraska, then he's going to probably go to UCLA. If it's the other way around, they think he's going to be a lock for Nebraska. So right now, or not, he's going to go to UCLA. But if Javin Wright goes to UCLA, we're a lock for Tavian Mayo in the very near future. They think he's going to make that commitment. Once he knows what Javin's going to do, he might make his commitment shortly after.
So what if he does? What if Javin commits to Nebraska?
Don't know. I don't know what Tavian's other choices are, but I still think Nebraska is still going to be a top choice for him. So, but they think we have a really good shot at getting him as well.
Which one do we want more?
I don't know. I think they'll both be fine. They're both cornerbacks. We need corners, so maybe we'll get lucky and get both of them.
That'd be great.
Which maybe if Javin comes to Nebraska, Tavian comes to Nebraska too, and we get two corners out of it. Talk about Darian Chase. A couple JUCOs that we've been looking at. We have a safety. What is it? I can't read my own handwriting. Marquise Bell. He's going to visit at the Michigan State game out of Coffeyville Community College. So another D-back. We need some D-back safeties, corners. So we got him, and then another JUCO corner, Drew Mathis. We've offered him. We offered him last week on Wednesday. So we're going after JUCOs. We talked about that before. It's a good place to go.
Especially when, go JUCO on the positions what you really need.
Yeah, guys that have the experience and they're good guys. One thing they did say about Drew Mathis is he's playing on a team that is terrible, but he's kind of that diamond in the rough that he's not getting a ton of offers because the team he plays on, so they're not getting a lot of looks for that team. But I don't know who found him, but they said he's one of those diamonds in the rough that he's having a hell of a good year, and he'd be a really good team, really good guy to go to any team at the college football level. So. So we got a lot of commits out there. We got a lot of opportunity. So keep your eyes out. Appeal definitely Wednesday, Thursday with those two commits with Javin and then who was Tavian, or not Tavian? Sorry, Javin and Wandell. Wandell Robinson. So keep your eyes out. Follow Two Average Guys on Twitter or follow Cornhusker Nation. We'll make sure we get the commits out there once we hear of them on Wednesday.
Yeah, I was watching all day. What was that? Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really excited. I assumed that he was going to commit to Nebraska because he had 5 teams and then visited for the Minnesota game. And then on Tuesday it came out that it was just 2 teams, and Nebraska and Boise State.
Yep.
So, that was cool.
I think we got a good 2019 class coming in. Still got to work on the line, offense, defensive line, defensive backs. I think those are our biggest spots that we need to get that depth built in. That JUCOs for the line. I think JUCO for the linemen is going to be huge. But we got a good 2019 class built so far. I think we're going to end up we could end up in the top 20, especially if we land a couple of those guys this week. 2-3 more guys, big weapons. I think we could end up in the top 20.
I think we need to have a pretty big and decent class to really progress.
Yeah.
Especially offense and defensive line. So
absolutely. So good news on the recruiting front. So what happened in the rest of the Big Ten? So Minnesota, they beat Indiana, but they almost blew that game as well. They're up 2 scores. Indiana comes back and tying at 31-31, and Minnesota winning 38-31. So
I know Minnesota's 1-4 in the Big Ten, but at the same time, it's still encouraging that when we actually did play our best, we were able to essentially blow them out.
Yeah.
And they're playing tight with Ohio State. They're playing tight with some of these other Big Ten teams. So that's
it is encouraging.
That's good to see.
Number 17, Penn State beat number 18. Iowa was the rankings yesterday when the game went down. So that game ended up being a really interesting fourth quarter. You had a couple turnovers by both teams. You had 2 safeties for Iowa. Both of them were one ball slipped through the punter's hands. The other one was flew over his head in the end zone. So 2 safeties for Iowa. Really, the biggest story of that game was Stanley. 18 of 49.
18 of 49.
2 interceptions, 205 yards, and no TDs. So, I mean, Stanley, I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know what happened in that game.
They said, so I watched the
struggled.
second half, but yeah, especially like this week, I heard some, sports writers and different things that are just like, I got a man crush on Nate Stanley. And I mean, if you're a fan, then yes, I mean, I'm sure.
He's had a hell of a year.
We've got a man crush on Adrian Martinez. Same
Mine's
thing.
on Frost, but...
Well, that too. But, yeah, he struggled, and I don't know if he was, I know at one point his offensive lineman hit his helmet as he threw and hit his hand. I don't know if he already had an issue before that, because he was throwing ducks, and he's got Noah Fant wide open, short arms it. I mean, I don't know.
Something was going on, because he hasn't put up numbers like that all year.
I know it was kind of raining. Maybe that was playing a factor for him. I don't know.
Those are still pretty bad for even a game in the rain.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that Penn State ended up winning that game. I did call that, by the way. And you thought I was wrong.
You called what?
Last week, Penn State beating Iowa. You're like, really? You think?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I thought Iowa was going to win, and honestly, they should have.
Yeah, but like I said, Penn State probably could have put it away too, but that fourth quarter was
Penn State could have put it away. Once they didn't, Iowa should have. But
Wisconsin loses Northwestern, so I just don't know what to expect from Northwestern. I really don't. John, you mentioned Northwestern, Iowa, and Wisconsin could end up in a 3-way tie.
It's very possible.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Big Ten West.
And
what I do know is Big Ten West doesn't have a chance to go to the playoff. If they end up beating
and
East.
I don't know that Purdue's even that far off
No,
there either.
I don't think they are.
It depends on what the matchups are from here on out. That might not be able to be a 4-way tie. But
Yeah.
they're right there too.
No one wants to win it. That's right. We are beating each other up.
I mean, we do, but
yeah,
we're too far out.
We have to win out in order to have a shot. Michigan State beat Purdue. Once again, I mean, Purdue comes out. I don't know if it was one of those things they were kind of on a high and it's just a tough game.
It's easy to say, after Purdue beats Ohio State, they should beat Michigan State. Yeah, they probably should. But they beat Ohio State at home in a night game with all kinds of electricity.
So I don't know if it was a hangover, but what I got to say about Michigan State is you don't know who you're going to run into week to week.
No.
You have no idea. So Purdue and Nebraska can't play a spoiler. We really can.
Yeah.
Michigan State, who the hell are they? I mean, they have zero identity.
We'll see in a couple weeks when they come to Lincoln.
I mean, that's another game. It's a toss-up. Nebraska probably should win that game, but it depends on which Michigan State shows up.
Yeah, before you go into that game, before that Nebraska-Michigan State game, especially to see what happens through these next couple weeks, but it's kind of a matter of Nebraska's better than 2-6 record. Yeah. Michigan State, you never know what's going to happen. So that game will be a complete toss-up. Yeah. I'm sure Michigan State will be favored, but...
Yeah. And I'm confident in saying that we're going to destroy Illinois. Maryland put up 63 points on 63-33. That's insane.
And they scored 33 points. They're probably going to be able to score some points on us.
But 63 points, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
I wonder if they brought in backups. I didn't see any of that game, but...
I didn't see any
the Michigan State game has not been announced yet. Not that I know of. I know that...
That would be sweet. My guess is it'll probably be at 2:30. But
I think it might
could
depend.
It could be like a Fox, 6-7 o'clock.
Yeah,
game.
It could be. I would like to see a night game for that as well.
I do kind of want to get tickets to that. So.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything on it yet. So that's really it for the Big Ten. Some things that we did notice yesterday in the rest of the college football world is 11 top 25 teams lost.
Right.
Really 16 through 25, essentially every team lost except for 17 and 23. 17 and 18 played each other. So that's why a lot of new teams jumped in this week. Ohio State moved up 3 in the AP, even without having a bye week, but 6 and 9 both lost. I mean, they jumped UCF. There's a lot of things going on. Right now, we do have the first playoff rankings coming up on Tuesday.
We'll really see. I know every time they come out with the playoff rankings, it's like, okay, we finally get...
Everyone kind of freaks out a little bit,
We
too.
kind of get a picture of what they're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
They could come out with freaking LSU being ranked number 3 or something tomorrow. They always do something because
or I think
it's a television show. It's entertainment. They want people talking.
More likely is Michigan's going to jump LSU. Michigan's going to be in the
like
4th
that.
spot.
But
that'd be my guess. Yeah, but right now
so,
your top 7 in the AP are Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame, LSU, Michigan, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Legitimately, who's going to get in? We talked about a little bit before the show. Bama. I mean, they have a really good shot. LSU's got to beat them, or
they
Georgia
play
has
LSU
to beat them,
this week.
or Georgia has to beat them in the championship game.
Even then, they're probably in. They'd probably be in the 4th spot.
Clemson, they have a cakewalk to make it to their not only the championship game, but they're probably gonna play Virginia or Virginia Tech, and they're probably gonna wipe the surface with them. They destroyed Florida State.
Yeah, it was the worst loss.
Notre Dame, Northwestern. That's a tricky game, and Syracuse. 2 tricky games coming up. USC, I think, is going to be a cakewalk, but I do think Notre Dame, Northwestern, Syracuse, those games are more intriguing now than they probably were before.
Yeah, I mean, when you were looking down the line of their schedule, I mean, they had the Michigan right away.
Yep.
They had at Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech had lost to Old Dominion by that point.
Yep.
Maybe one other, but at the same time, you probably weren't thinking that much about Northwestern. Now it's at Northwestern.
And Northwestern's been up and down. You don't know what you're going to get. So that's a tricky game.
Then that's this week, and then you turn around and they got to go to Yankee Stadium and play Syracuse.
Yep, pinstripe game.
That'll be
Syracuse is not a bad team. So
I mean,
those 2 games, USC.
Those 2 games right there, followed up by USC. I mean.
Yep.
That's basically you playing in a conference championship.
And I think right now, if they lose one of those games, they don't get in.
It's very possible.
I think another one-loss team is going to get in before Notre Dame if Notre Dame doesn't have a championship game. That's what's going to kill them. But we'll see. Got to play it out. A few games left.
At the same time, I also could see a 2-loss team getting in there somehow this year. If there's ever going to be a year, it's this year with how many.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna happen because I don't think there's gonna be a 2-loss team that has a shot. To be honest, I think there's gonna be enough 1-loss teams to get in personally. But if the chance that there is a 2-loss team, yes, I do believe this is the year that it would happen. LSU, they got Alabama next week, and then A&M's their other tough game, but I think they'll win that easily. But Michigan's got Penn State and Ohio State left. I think my guess we talked about. I think Northwestern's gonna win the Big Ten West. But it's still really hard to say because
they're 5-1. Everybody else is 3-2. They played one more conference game than everybody else. Again, they aren't playing a conference game this weekend. They're playing Notre Dame.
So I think
it will be them as well.
I do. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. I think maybe after next weekend we'll have a better picture of who's going to win the Big West with only a few games left. Yeah. But yeah, that's just a guess. I think Northwestern's kind of taking the driver's seat, and I think they're going to hang on to it.
I agree.
So Michigan, I think Michigan's going to win the East. I think they're going to play for the championship game. I think they're going to play Northwestern. I think they're going to win. I think they're getting the playoff. I don't think they're going to allow a 2-loss SEC team if the other teams, if it's the SEC champ, Clemson and Notre Dame, the Big Ten champ is in. Pac-12's out. Washington State's not going to make it. Even if they win the Pac-12, Washington State won't get put into the playoff. I don't think it's not going to happen. Now,
who was their loss to? I guess I can't remember at this point.
I can't remember who they lost to. It was early and they shouldn't have lost though. I do remember that. USC, because the guy had that targeting penalty they didn't call in the final drive. Anyways, so I don't think they're going to win. Oklahoma, to me, is the other intriguing. Now Georgia's the other team for the SEC that has a shot. But to me, even more intriguing is Oklahoma, West Virginia, Texas. Texas has 2 losses now. So it's Oklahoma, West Virginia. I know conference, whatever, but they have 2 losses. They're not going to get in.
Texas losing to Oak State last night was a pretty big blow.
That killed them.
I mean, yes and no, though, because so many other teams lost that it has reopened the door for Oklahoma now.
Yeah, so Oklahoma, West Virginia, those guys play each other. That's going to be their toughest game on the remainder of their schedule. Right. And then chances are Oklahoma and West Virginia are going to play each other in the championship game. And if that happens, and they both have 1 loss, or they won't, because someone's got to lose that game against each other. And then if let's say Oklahoma wins, beats West Virginia, last game of the year, and then they play them in the championship game, and they beat them again, Oklahoma, I think, could squeeze in there. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It really is. So I think there's still a lot to know.
Yeah, I mean, this happens every year. You know, you play the first 8 everybody plays their first 8 games of the year, and it's set in stone who's going to make it.
Yeah. Right now, the only shoe-in is Bama and Clemson. They're probably the only 2 shoe-ins.
I mean, Bama, Clemson, and Notre Dame are the only undefeated teams other than UCF, which is not going to be in. But
if Bama wins this weekend, they're in, if you ask me.
Would they beat LSU this weekend? Yeah, I mean, they could slip up against...
I mean,
shoot, if they beat LSU this weekend, I mean, they could slip up against somebody and still win the SEC West.
Yeah,
So...
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Still a few weeks left, so we'll see what happens in the playoff. Lisa, you think Northwestern's going to beat Iowa, playing tough? I mean, we'll see. They're both similar styles.
And honestly, well, no, I guess that couldn't be the case. I was going to say, I mean, Iowa could beat Northwestern, and Northwestern could still win the Big Ten West.
That's true.
So,
especially when we go beat Iowa.
It's very true.
Let's look at Week 10 games next week, and then we'll kind of end the show. Kind of a short one today.
Yeah, that's fine.
But feel free to keep asking questions. Nebraska at Ohio State, once again, 22.5-point favorite for Ohio State. If we lose by 20, if we lose, let's beat the spread. Yeah. If it stays at 22.5. Michigan State's at Maryland. Once again, who's going to show up? Which Maryland team? Which Michigan State team? Don't know.
That actually is kind of interesting.
Minnesota, Illinois. I think Minnesota's going to win that game, but that could be kind of a bad game. You don't know which Minnesota's team is going to show up, and Illinois hasn't showed up yet to a game, really. Iowa at Purdue. Iowa could lose to Purdue this upcoming weekend.
I mean,
it's at Purdue as well.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it kind of sucks because you want your conference to be good, you want your division in your conference to be good, but when you're beating each other up, everybody's beating everybody.
You usually
when you got a bunch of good coaches that are all in the same conference and you're beating each other, I'm gonna beat you this week, but then they're gonna beat me this next week, and then they're gonna beat you. Whatever.
You care way more about the conference stuff than I do. I just want I want teams that I don't like to lose. So that's my biggest thing. But this year, I mean, I just don't know because they are just beating each other up. You just don't know where you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Then you got Penn State at Michigan. Once again, another intriguing game. Number 14 at number 5.
Is that this week?
That's this upcoming week.
Oh wow!
So that game. There's so much parity in the Big Ten, it hurts. It really does.
It's like that in a lot of conferences, especially Pac-12. That happens every year. They always end up left.
And the Big 12.
And the Big 12.
Yep. So, anyways, I think Penn State, Michigan, man, what happens if Michigan loses? It puts Ohio State back in the driver's seat.
If Penn State beats Michigan, Big Ten might miss out.
Yeah, because then Michigan could turn around and beat Ohio State, and then neither of them are going to make it, and the West won't make it. And that makes it more interesting. That opens up for the Big 12 or even Washington State if they end up winning the Pac-12 with one loss. So, I don't know. I just don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for this weekend because we also have West Virginia and Texas. West Virginia loses to Texas, then West Virginia definitely doesn't have a chance to make it to the playoff. Georgia, Kentucky, number 6. That's another big game.
It's a huge game.
Kentucky.
Because if Kentucky wins that game, they might go on to win the East.
Yeah, and then they're going to play for the championship game. Then Notre Dame at Northwestern. We talked that could be an intriguing game with the way Northwestern, you don't know who you're going to get. And then you got Bama at LSU. So probably the 2 biggest games I'm looking forward to on the weekend is Penn State, Michigan, and Bama, LSU. And honestly, probably the Iowa, Purdue as well.
So, on paper, I would say...
And all the other games I just mentioned. I'm just excited for this weekend.
On paper, this is probably one of the best weeks. At least better than a lot of them have been so far.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that first week, everybody's excited. There's, number 3's playing number 6, and then at the end of the year, neither one of them are ranked, or whatever the case is. But there's a lot of big-time games this weekend. Yeah,
and it could be, and I hope they're all fun. I hope they're all close. John, you say Georgia's going to beat Kentucky. I
agree with you 100%.
But we've seen Georgia come out a little flat. We've seen Fromm have some tough games.
They lost by 20 points.
Yeah, so in Kentucky, they want to prove to themselves. And
Kentucky hasn't, they haven't won very...
Basketball. They're a basketball school. Everyone knows that.
In the games they have won, or the big games they have won, I mean, they won 13-6, or whatever it is. Or lost 13. I think they lost 13-6 was one of their games.
Yeah.
But either way,
But so fun weekend coming up. So that's all we really got for this week. Just want to remind everyone, ticket giveaway, Nebraska playing in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium day after Thanksgiving. I believe it's November 25th. We'll post it at the top of the page, pin it up there for you guys to see. We need to do the score of the Nebraska-Ohio State game, predict the score. Offensive yards for Nebraska is the tiebreaker. You need to like the page, you need to share the post, and you need to tag who you would take to the game with you if you win. So those are the 3 rules. Make sure you get that score in before. We'll have a cutoff as well.
Yeah, I mean, the game's at 11 on Saturday.
So yeah, I mean, we need it before the game starts.
It was sooner than later. Try to do it by Friday, I would say.
Yeah, get it in Friday. Pay attention to the line, pay attention to injuries, and get your best guess in for the game. As always, go Big Red.
Yeah, I guess one other thing I would ask is, what do you think about Stilly turning down that that black shirt?
I don't have a problem. Like, I see both sides of it.
I don't want to talk about it too much.
Yeah, well, I actually put it out there on Twitter. So I run the Two Average Guys Twitter page. So I put it out there. I actually asked Adam Carricker and Grant Wistrom and Jason Peter. Jason Peter didn't respond. Carricker agreed with Wistrom, but essentially they said, it's one of those things where they haven't seen it before. So I'm like, have you guys even heard of this happening before with a black shirt being handed out?
No, because everybody wants it.
But Wistrom talked about that shows the maturity of the team. It shows that they're holding themselves accountable for what they do on the field. And to me, that's like, man, this kid, he's a kid,
right,
is saying, you know what, I have not played up to my potential. He talked about when Jason Peter and Grant Wistrom came to talk to him, he talked about, everything they talk about, what that black shirt means and what that means once you put that black jersey on, what that means to the Huskers and to yourself. He goes, I don't feel like I've lived up to that yet. Now, I think we might see that this week. I think we'll see.
He got a sack.
He played pretty well.
He played pretty good. He got a sack.
Yes, it was against Bethune-Cookman, but he did look pretty well. And I think he has what that black shirt means, and I think he will accept it now. And I don't see anything negative about it. I think it shows, once again, that accountability. They are taking what Frost and these coaches are saying very seriously. They're holding themselves accountable for what they do on the field. And if they don't feel they're good enough, I have no problem with saying, you know what, I'm going to hold off. I will accept it when I feel like I have earned it.
Right.
And Wistrom thought it was very cool and interesting. And Adam Carricker, agreed with Wistrom as well, saying, you're holding yourself accountable. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I just thought I'd see what you thought about it, because I agree.
A lot of guys just trashed him for it, but you're not him.
And the coaches, you gotta learn how to say thank you when you're rewarded for something.
Yeah, the coaches respected him for it, and it is what it is. Move on. He's earned it.
I think it just shows the positive progress that this program is, the direction that the program's going in.
Absolutely.
That's the way I took it. So
good deal. Well, we don't got anything else today, guys. We'll throw up the podcast here in a minute. Follow Two Average Guys on Twitter. Follow our podcast. Share it with friends and family. Share it with Twitter family as well. Get into that ticket giveaway for the Iowa-Nebraska game, and hopefully we'll be able to make someone very, very happy when winning those tickets and getting a trip down to Kinnick. So
I'm getting to see a W.
Hopefully we see a W at Kinnick. That'd be pretty sweet. So anyways, that's all we got. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Go Big Red.